It's Friday. Who else? I'd like to know where you're joining us from. Where are you joining us from? Fantastic. Godwin, you're welcome. Philemon joining us from the United Kingdom. Welcome, Philemon. All right, who else again? Welcome, everybody. I can see Gina. Gina is joining us from the United States of America. You're very much welcome. This is our own special way. We know how we do it here. Every month we have our alumni community event. And this time around, this month, it is not different. We've curated this session to ensure that every one of us benefits handsomely from the value that will be shared today, from the great value that will be shared today. And it's something very important because we have a very timely and much needed conversation on the topic managing burnout and sustaining career growth in the tech industry. We're looking at managing burnout and sustaining career growth in the tech industry. One thing we know is that in the tech industry, it is known for what? Rapid innovation. We know it's known for tight deadlines. It's known for constant learning curves. And many professionals find themselves they caught up chasing growth and at the same time trying to preserve their mental health. And sometimes some conversation with my colleague, I'll hear someone say, "Oh, my mental health. I'm trying to do this at the same time. It's an agile environment, it's fast-paced, it's constantly evolving. And yet, we professionals, we try as much as we can to want to seek for growth and at the same time preserve our sanity. And that is why today we want to make it known to us that while ambition is important, we should also be able to sustain it because our sustainability and sanity is non-negotiable. So just to talk about it briefly, who are we at Analytics? So who are we? You know who we are, but it's important that we introduce ourselves once again. Who are we? We're simple. Analytics, we are a leading education technology company, all right? And we focus on providing specializing training in technological skills and delivering comprehensive data consulting services. Now, we offer various programs, high in demand tech skills ranging from data analytics, business analysis, cybersecurity, agile project management and scrum master, data science, financial analytics, and a host of others, all 8 programs. These are what we currently offer at Analytics. And thankfully, we have a team of instructors who are leading global companies like Apple, Microsoft, McKinsey, Amazon, etc. And this way, we've been able to create this company. And so far, in the past 4 years, we have helped over 2,000 people transition from the classroom into their first job in tech across the United States of America, Canada, Europe, Africa, and Asia. Yes, we are who we are, and we boast in the knowledge that this is something we've been able to do, and precedent tells us rightly in the past 4 years. Yeah, you've been hearing my voice and seeing my video very soon. My name is Oluwaseyi or Debode. Yeah, and I love when people call me Significant Sheyi. So if you address me as Significant Sheyi, trust me, you've won my heart. So you can call me Significant Sheyi. And since 2021, I've had the opportunity to work across various sectors: academics, government, edtech, NGOs, civil society organizations, MSMEs. I've been able to work as moderator, event host for various events. And here at Analytics, I work as a customer sales associate with skill sets in sales, closing, customer service, amongst others. And this evening, I'm not here alone. I have my very fantastic colleague, a woman of great work experience and culture. She's here with me, Arafat Oseni. So I'll leave the microphone to Arafat to introduce herself and also chat us further in the course of today's event. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, Shay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this is Alumni Community Engagement. We do this every month, and I just really want to know. Let me know if you have been to any of our community engagement events before in the comment section. So if you have been here before, let me see you say one. But if this is your first time, Let me see you say zero, so I will know who are just joining us, who have been missing in this fun activity that we're always doing every month. Right. So let me see comment section. If you have zero, wow. Gina, thank you for joining. I promise you, have a wonderful time. Oh wow, great. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, like Shay mentioned, my name is Arafat Oseni, and I am the community manager here at Ten Analytics. I have experience in both civic tech and ed tech, and I've been able to engage over 1,000 community members across various platforms. And I thrive in, supporting connection, meaningful, engaging connection and creating a dynamic environment. Yeah, I'm so happy to have everyone of us here. Before I move forward, I also want to confirm if our speakers are here. Victor, if you are here, can you say I so that we can know that you're here with us? Inkiruka, can you say I so that we know that you are here with us? Thank you so much for joining once again.
Right,
So
this
yeah,
is
we do this every month just to inspire ourselves and bring experts from the tech space to come and speak to us about what their experience is like in the tech industry. So briefly, we'll go into the next thing. Okay, Victor is here. Hi, Victor. We'd like to hear your voice though. I think you can unmute so that we hear your voice and know that you're with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here. Thank you so much for inviting me to this beautiful alumni, and I hope we enjoy ourselves this evening.
Yeah, happy to have you here with us, Victor. Thank you for joining. Inkiruka, I don't know if you are here. We just have to hear your voice so we
Yeah,
know.
I'm here. Hi,
Perfect. Thank you
everyone.
so much for
Yeah,
joining.
thanks for
Hello,
having me.
Inkiruka.
Hi.
Nice. So we'll go right into our panelist bio. We'll start with Nkiruka and I'll give the mic to Sheyi to take over from here. Thank you so much.
Amazing, Arafa. I love your energy always, every single time. So it's my pleasure to welcome, rather, introduce Inkiruka. And trust me, when I saw Inkiruka's full profile, I said, oh my God, we can't take all of this today. Trust me, it is loaded. And you can see on our screen, we just have to bring in a summary, an abridged version of our profile. And I have the honor to introduce this cybersecurity and resilience leader. Her name is Inkiruka Aimenoho, popularly referred to as NK. I mean, she's a highly respected cybersecurity and resilience executive, currently serving as Chief Information Security Officer, CISO, at Standard Chartered Bank, Nigeria. With a rich career spanning leadership roles at PwC Nigeria and Digital Jewels Africa, she has driven cybersecurity transformations for over 100 organizations, including 30 plus major financial institutions. She is a recognized thought leader and mentor. NK has pioneered enterprise-wide security strategies, regulatory compliance, and business-aligned cyber resilience across Africa. She the top 50 CISO Hall of Fame inductee and an advocate for the women in cybersecurity through platforms like InfoSec Amazons, IACA, and the United Nations. She holds a master's degree from the University of Salford and multi-tier certifications. She combines deep technical expertise with board-level influence, commercial acumen, and a passion for inclusive leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're excited to learn from this foremost thought leader in the cybersecurity space, resilience space, and particularly in the tech industry, can we put our hands together for Inkiruka Aime Noho? Fantastic.
Thank you, everyone.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Hi, Nkiruka. Thank you
Hi.
so much for joining us. Wow, nice to see your face finally. We are happy to have you, and I'm so excited to start this conversation with you because I know that it's come from a place of experience, knowledge, and everything. Full package. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us once again. So we'll go on to our second
Thank you.
panelist, Victor Asami. I hope I pronounced that well. Hello, Victor. Thank you for joining us once again. Victor is a business security specialist and a cybersecurity professional with over a decade of experience helping organizations align business strategy with secure operation. He has worked across the public, private, and financial sectors, leading high impact transformation projects and navigating the pressures of rising through corporate ranks. Wow. Like many in demanding tech roles, Victor has had his fair share of burnout. His turning point came when he redefined his meaning of success, choosing what really matters and prioritizing his energy. That shift now shapes how he works, leads, and supports others. Victor is the co-founder of Inyota Analytica, a London-based business security firm that delivers tailored cybersecurity solutions grounded in business analysis principles. Beyond work, Victor is deeply committed to community growth. He serves as the planning committee of Limitless Without Border (LWB), a platform helping immigrants transition into tech and entrepreneurship. He's spoken at events like IIBA Metro DC Tools and Techniques session supported by NCSC Cybook Research on cybersecurity programs mapping. Wow. And volunteers with the Royal Voluntary Service (RVS) through articles and mentorship. Victor shares his honest insights on leadership and building a meaningful tech career. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give our sweetest emoji to Victor Asami. Thank you so much for joining us, Victor. Really, really excited to have you here. I don't know if you can see us. We'd love to see you. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Sorry, I've got two cameras, so I might be wandering from from one side to another. But I'm excited to be here, and thanks for the introduction.
Thank you so much, Victor. So yeah, we'll go right into our question and answer so that we don't take much of our panelists' time. And we'll just take questions, in-house questions that we've set for our panelists to guide the conversation. And then afterwards, we'll take questions from in-house that would our panelists would give answers to. So yeah, right. Let's go right into it. I'll start from Inkiruka because I'm much excited about this conversation. So yeah, Inkiruka, the first question will be to ask your backstory and how you get into tech, and what was your experience getting your first tech job?
Okay. Okay. So, first of all, thank you guys. Thank you all for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here. So while I was in school, I'd always been interested in the field in some way, right? In the tech space. I came from a very humble background. I wanted to do something tough and something that would give me good money, right? I got my first degree in electrical electronics engineering. I specialize in communication systems, and I wanted to work with a multinational telco in Nigeria. So at that time, they were, they're still big, but it was fresh, it was, new, MTN, and I wanted to work at the head office. I had just, things in my mind that I wanted to do in that space, and I would just talk about it, right? I brought this into God, right? I prayed about it because at that time, I mean, it was really rare to get anyone work there, let alone work from the head office. And I remember, right, when I went to service in Nigeria, you go for your national youth service for at least a year. I was in camp. I wasn't feeling fine. I was very ill. I couldn't even participate in some of the things that they were doing in camp. I remember, my sister just looking at me oddly, right, and telling me, "See, you've been posted to MTN." I almost fainted, right? I literally prayed to God for this, and I got it. I got it right. So I got in, served, picked up a contract job. That was a contract job, right? Not my first real tech job. It was a contract job. I was working on the service decks. I got to know about the different areas in an organization, from being on the decks and supporting different teams. It was interesting. I mean, just when I got to the information security space, and I just liked what I saw. So I seized the opportunity to speak to the general manager one day. So this is like a very experienced person in the information systems group. And I just, sort of painted this vivid picture of, what I wanted to do. I wanted something that was not mundane. I wanted to lead large information security projects. I wanted flexibility. I wanted, variety over just the daily routine tasks that I was doing on the service desk. When he listened to me, he advised that I join a niche, information security, IT GRC company. And at that time, it was a company that I didn't really even know about. And, he just advised me. And I think that's where, mentorship comes in. When you talk to someone that has gone before you, that knows what you want, and this person advises you. He told me to just go for like 2 years to this company and come back into MTN and see if, things would. I mean, was just trying to promise. He was promising he's not going to be the one to do, but he was promising me that I would enjoy working for that smaller firm, and then I'll go on to do big things. So he sort of painted it for me. So I took his advice, and my journey into information security advisory began. So I think that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Nkiruka. It's such an inspiring story. And I'm sure that alumni that are in the house are taking a leap of faith from that. That it's impossible to do anything from anywhere that you're starting from. So yeah, it's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. So yeah, I'll ask the same question to Victor. So we just take like a backstory from there, and that would be to ask you that what's your backstory like? How did you get your very first tech job, and how did you transition into tech? Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. One more time. Hi, everyone. And I'm excited to be here. And hello to you too, NK. So my story is it's a bit different from NK. So I started off my career professionally as a business developer, and that was back in 2012, 2013 before I finished my NYSC. So I got this business developer job in Lagos, and I liked it. And just a bit of interesting fact about me. So I studied biochemistry, but I lost interest in it right from 200 level. I wanted to do something, more business-like, more marketing-like, things like that. So I just tried to graduate from the university because I didn't like biochemistry anyways. So after a while, I got another job as a junior business analyst. And after a while, I told myself that I wanted tech, because then tech was for me, I saw it as a future. And this was back in 2016 or thereabout. I saw it as my future. So I made the conscious effort, and I took a 1-year gap, and I registered in a computer school. I don't know how many of you is familiar with AppTech. So I registered with AppTech, and for 1 year, I was learning programming. I learned how to code. I learned about databases. I learned about a little bit about cybersecurity, but the focus then was just to learn a bunch of programming languages and see where that would lead me. So that was back in 2017. And before I finished that program that year, one of my tutors, he sort of took interest in me, and he introduced me to my first major tech job, which was in cybersecurity. And with little or no experience, I got into cybersecurity as a cybersecurity analyst. And that was where my journey really took off, professionally speaking. So I would say 2017 was it was my year. Yeah, that's it. And of course, I branched into different things, and I'm hoping that we will talk about it in the course of this conversation.
Definitely, we will. Thank you so much for sharing that, Victor. I mean, from being someone that is not even in the tech career space to eventually venturing into the tech and actually being someone that we can speak to right now. So it's really inspiring, and it's great to hear your side of story. So I'll pass the mic to Shay now. Stick up from here for the questions. Thank you so much. Shay, are you right here?
Thank you, Arafat. So I'll just pick it up. I think a number of persons also share similar story with Victor. I mean, people would have to transition from their course of study because at one point in time or the other, they had lost interest in it. And Victor, great words so far, hitting right here. And NK, I love your smile. I need to compliment that. You have a very beautiful smile. I look at she's smiling again. Oh. All right, so let's go into the next question. There's this popular saying that says the secret of great men is in their stories. And while you were speaking already, I could see that it looks like you are peeping into what I'd written down with the questions I would want to ask you, because there's some things already that you are answering from the first question Arafat had asked earlier. But then I want us to be quite specific, and so I would want to ask this question. So this way we can be able to pick from your story some of the things that you've been able to do. And the question is very simple. So what skills and mindsets for someone like in NK, who at a point in time from our youth service here should have to transition, she had to grow, leave a current role to a smaller company to get the skills. What skills and mindset shift are essential when transitioning from entry level to mid-level tech role? Because we have some individuals currently that are entry level, and you both at some point in time, you've all gone past the entry level phase. So for you, NK, and at the same time, after NK, I would want Victor to pick it up from there. For you, NK, what skills and mindset do you think are essential when transitioning from entry level to mid level roles? Over to you, NK.
Okay, thank you for that question. In fact, I want to say hi to Victor. I know when he said something to me, I was trying to respond, on my mic was off. So
Okay.
hi Victor. Yeah. So yeah, what skills and mindset shifts are essential for me? I would say problem solving skills are, really key. You want to go from entry level to mid level tech roles, you need to have um, you know good problem solving skills, right? With mid-level roles, with different roles in tech, you need to be more independent. You need to have those skills. You need to own stuff. You need to diagnose root causes and propose effective solutions without supervision, right? I remember as an analyst when I got into Digital Jewels Africa. I remember, where before, like I think we had banking officials, executives. I helped my boss to prepare a presentation, and he told me, just when we were there, and it was about maybe a few minutes to his presentation, that I'll be the one to make the presentation. I remember how frightened I was. Um, I remember how I was really scared, but I took that initiative, and I did it. I wasn't finding it funny at that time. So this leads me to my next skill. I think you need to have. You need to also take the initiative to do things that are out of your comfort zone. Um, I remember also in roles that I've been in, there are some roles that people, would hide or run away from, because perhaps it was a tougher skill to get or a tougher thing to do. I did most of these things afraid. I would just say, okay, you know what, I'll just give it a shot. And when I go in there, I realized, even though it was hard, I later on became like the subject matter expert. So problem solving skills, definitely. Doing things out of your comfort zone. Having a growth mindset is also one, because we have so many people reading. We have so many with a lot of experience in tech now, and sometimes you might even get intimidated. I remember when I started, right? I would be in a room filled up with a lot of people. I will be about one or two women in the room. I and you hear them, oh, this person has like 10 certifications. You even hear the ones that have 50, 40, like, and you're like, where will you start from, right? But having that group mindset helped me. So continuously learn, have the desire to learn, adapt, to new technologies, seek out challenges, and just don't compare yourself with others. Remember your why. Why do you want to do what you're doing? And make sure you just follow that path yourself. I would say another skill to have would be the broader technical proficiencies. Like Victor mentioned, look, so he went to AgTech, and he did programming and all that. While entry roles often focus on, specific tasks, it'd be good to have, understanding of systems and architectures. It helps you to, stay grounded, understand the basics. So when you start moving up the ranks, at least you're well grounded, right? So yeah, I'll say these skills, there are more, but I think let me just stop here because of time. These skills are critical.
Yeah. I agree. I think thank you very much, Inkiruka, for this fantastic contribution. I'm going to give a recap on that briefly, but then at some point I was like, NK is just giving us. Victor at some point was reckoning. Okay, so I see what he says. NK shouldn't go ahead. Let's hear from Victor. But I know
Yeah.
your experience is also peculiar, in as much as there could be unique experiences. So Victor, let's hear from you. What skills and mindset are essential for tech professional, especially entry level to mid level roles? Yeah,
Okay,
over
great.
to you.
Yeah, thank you, Shay. Good. I wanted to remember your name. So I think Inkiruka has already mentioned a lot of mostly hard skills, and I wouldn't want to repeat any of it because there are a lot of points to talk about. But I want to take things from a different perspective, and I like the fact that this is a combination of what mindset, what skills, and I want us to just put skills to one side for a minute, because you can teach skills, but you can't teach attitude. Nobody can teach you mindset. Nobody can teach you, some of these really intricate things. And that's what I want to focus on. And when it comes to mindset, I want us to focus on three letters, and that's I, C, and A. I stands for interest, C stands for capability or capacity, and A stands for ambition. And these were the same. This is the same philosophy that I used when I wanted to transition into tech. So, what are you interested in? What are your interests? If you're able to identify the things you really love, the things you really like, it will play a really crucial role in you, succeeding either in your entry level roles or transitioning or getting a whatever. It just depends on you being able to identify the things you like, the things you love, the things that resonate with you. And then secondly is your capacity. There are a lot of people who want to get into tech, but they're so scared of coding. They're so scared of the technical bit of tech. And I think it's okay. And that's just the kind of self-realization that a lot of us need, when talking about things like transitioning or getting your first job. It's about you being sincere with yourself. That what's my capacity? What can I really do? And this is not you putting yourself in a box. It's because at the end of the day, now you go do the work. Nobody's going to do it for you. So you have to be sincere with yourself in that kind of self reflection, self-audit, that am I sure I'm ready to commit to this? And then the third one is the ambition. What do you want for yourself? Where do you see yourself? What do you want from life? And this particularly, it worked for me because I was just like, because I would see a lot of people, a lot of my colleagues, friends, getting into tech, and I kind of liked the vibe. And I told myself, I also want to be in tech. I want to see what I can do in tech. I don't want a kind of future that would be outside of the tech industry. Because, like I said in my intro, I just knew tech was the future, and I wasn't wrong. So it's you first knowing what your interests are and what capacity do you have, and then what's that thing you want. That's what was where's that place you see yourself in next 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, maybe 10 years is too far, but maybe 1 to 5 years. You should be able to have that mental picture in your head, and that will shape your mindset. That would help you identify where you need to get to. And the second bit of it, I said earlier that we should put skills to one side. So now we're fetching it. And the point I want to make here is to try and do a gap analysis. And this is the business analyst in me talking. Try to do a gap analysis of where you are and where you want to get to. You see that gap between those two phases from point A to point B. You see that gap, you need to analyze it in terms of what do I need to get from point A to point B. For example, you want your first tech job. Have you decided on what aspect of tech you're interested in? What aspect of tech do you sort of have innate capacity to flourish in? If you're very good with numbers, that is a capacity that you have. And my suggestion would be to toe that line. So if you're able to identify all of these gaps, then what do you need to do about it? Do you need to learn a new set of skills? Do you need to learn how to program, if that's where your interests lie? Do you need to learn about frameworks and standards? So this is also the cybersecurity in me talking now. So let's say you're interested in cybersecurity for whatever reason, and your capacity is you have a law background, and you realize that you're good with writing standards, you can easily understand frameworks, you can easily draft policies. And these are the kind of things that thrive in the part of cybersecurity that's called GRC, governance, risk, and compliance. So this is you. First of all, the work starts with you, and this is me rounding off. The work starts with you. What are your interests? What capacity do you have? Do a sort of analysis on yourself, self-reflection. What do I like? What do I want? What can I do? And then think of where you want to see yourself in the next couple of years, and then analyze that gap between point A to point B. What do I need to get from A to B? Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much, Victor. Thank you for putting all of these things in concise form. I know there's so many things you have to say, but thank you so much. So everyone of us listening, I've been able to pick a couple of things from NK as well as from Victor. And one thing is important to note is everyone listening at this moment are students of Analytics or alumni, and some of them are already at mid-level roles, some of them are already at entry roles, and these are important. NK gave us problem-solving skills at every point in time. Look forward to solve problems, okay? Take initiative, do these things afraid, go out of your comfort zone, have growth mindset, continually learn, broaden your technical competencies. And Victor gave us from the aspect of ICA, we must always look into our interests, consider our capabilities, as well as factoring the ambitions that we have. And currently, one thing that can always help us is to do a gap analysis to see where we are and wherever we want to get to. So I think this is a very important point, concise, put together for each and every one of us. All right, permit me to state this at this junction that after we are done asking this question, that's Arafat and myself, you would also have the opportunity to ask your questions, okay? So if you can put it down, you can put your questions in the comment section. When we get to Q&A session, we are going to do that. But for now, let's drive the conversation further because we are also conscious of time. Over to you, Arafat.
Thank you so much for that, Shay. I was also taking notes when Victor was speaking on NK, and it's really great to hear your insight of how entry level, those things you need to be conscious of, and NK also talking about those skills that are needed. Perfect. So yeah, the next question, because I'm also skeptical about you have several years of experience, and it's also important for us to know that there are definitely challenges that you have overcome in those years, and that is what would lead my next question, which would be directly to NK, and it would be to tell us some common challenges when transitioning roles, and how can our alumni, our students, how can they overcome those challenges, regardless of whether they are entry level or they are mid in their career. Yeah.
Okay. So that's an interesting question, right? So when you're getting into a new role, you need to adapt to a new team culture. So, team dynamics, communication styles can vary significantly. So the solution is, be observant, you listen actively, and be open to different ways of working, right? Build relationships with your new colleagues. I mean, it's interesting getting into a new role, but you need to actively listen and pay attention to details. I would say another common challenge would be the imposter syndrome, right? Feeling inadequate, despite your accomplishments. It's common during transitions to feel inadequate, but I think the solution to this is, recognize these feelings and focus on your strengths, I've led teams, big teams, I've led small teams, I've been in roles where you have not even led anybody at all. And when faced with any of these situations, what I've done is to focus on my strength, right? And when opportunities come for me to tap into other teams, you have to be open about it. If you seem to be someone who wants to be seen as um, someone who knows everything and someone who can do everything all by themselves, you get into situations that will be really rough. So I think it'd be good, for the imposter syndrome part to focus on your strengths, be open about the parts that you will need help and support in. Seek positive reinforcement from mentors. I've had amazing mentors. And I think it's also good to mention that when you have mentors, it's good to sort of look at mentors and maybe chase them for one or two things that you want to achieve, not all your goals and aspirations. I'll sort of explain that. I mean, when you look at different personalities on, let's say, on social media or in modern day TV, right? Maybe you look at someone like Chef Ramsay. Chef Ramsay is bullish. He talks. He has his own way of doing stuff, right? And if you have someone like that as a mentor, you know what you're going for, right? Oprah Winfrey, I'm talking about different personalities. What would you want to get from that kind of person? If it's oratory, we know that someone like a TD Jakes, right? If it's someone that is well put together, maybe you want to learn from that person, finesse and all that. You have those personalities. It will be good to sort of go for mentors that have certain things, certain qualities that you're looking out for. And if you have like 10, 20 goals, don't just shove all of that in the face of this one mentor. It'll be good to have your community of mentors or people that you look up to. There are some mentors you might not even get to speak to in your lifetime, but the fact that you follow them and you listen to their talks and you read their books, you are already a mentee, right? So I'll say to overcome the imposter syndrome, have good mentors too. Have a list of your achievements. So from a very, very early in my career, I will have like what should I call it, a rap sheet? Is it something that talks about my achievements? No matter how, I mean, I just started, I've left the service desk in MTN. The fact that I've worked with different teams, that's an achievement for me. The fact that at that time I got my ITIL, at that time I got my MCSC, those were achievements for me. And I wrote that down and I would applaud myself for that stage. I started to move on to do things. I managed with other people the first ISO 27001 project, for myself. The first one I ever handled was the one for my organization. Then after doing that, I mean, on my sheets, on my achievement sheets, I'd written that I've done this, and I applaud myself for this. While we had other consultants that had done 20, 10, 5, at that time it was just one for me, but I went on to do other ones. And now, I mean, when I look back, I'm like, oh my God, when did it become 60? When did it become 100? But acknowledging where you are per time is really important. It helps you to overcome that imposter syndrome. It helps you to focus on yourself. The other common challenge I have faced, transitioning roles, will be burnout. When you get into a new place, you want to prove yourself. It's a new role. I want to show that I can lead. I always say yes, yes, yes to everything, and then you burn out. The way you can overcome this is to be mindful of your workload, you set boundaries, and you prioritize self-care. In tech, it's really, really stressful. I won't even lie, I can't even sugarcoat it. It can be very you can burn out really fast. And I learned earlier on, like I had one episode where I burnt out and I was still taking on work. I remember just exploding one day when I was speaking to somebody, and I told myself I would never get to this. I mean, a mentor of mine even spoke to me, and I took that feedback. Never get to this. There are different ways to handle burnout. You need to prioritize self-care. You need to take those breaks. You need to go on holidays. Sometimes even like Friday nights for me, I like to hang out with my girls. at home, a nice movie, we're eating, you put out the lights, we chill or go out weekends, but just something that makes me unwind. Can be music, it can be taking a walk, but prioritizing self-care is really important in tech because you see people just, some people just drop. Some people are just so disgruntled. You're talking to them and they are so disgruntled. They have a lot of pent up, anger, and it's because they've not, unwound, or they've not taken time out to like chill. So it's important to I think I mentioned burnout, the imposter syndrome, and adapting to a new team culture. Those are the three things I'll mention. The three things I'll mention. Hopefully, I hope I
Thank you so
talked
much.
about solutions. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much for that, NK. That was, fully insightful. Just to give a recap, some of the challenges that NK mentioned was firstly imposter syndrome. And, to just link part of that to what we are doing at Analytics, we have an episode on our podcast that states overcoming imposter syndrome. And that was with Abim Bola. So, yeah, if it's something that you want to know more about, you can definitely watch that. It's on YouTube. So it's actually great how NK is mentioning, because it's something that's spot on and we've actually noticed in the tech industry. Another challenge that you mentioned is burnout, and it's great that you recommend people going out, Friday night TGIF, and we hope that it's something that you look into. That's what works. That's what works for NK. It might be anything for you, just to know that there's safe space and a way to come to. So thank you so much for that, NK. I feel that NK has said so much on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. I think NK has mentioned so much on that. So for me, I'll just say if Victor has something to add, he can, and then go to the next question, because NK also mentioned mentorship. So yeah, we bring us to the next question, which states that how can mentors or career coaches support this career transition that NK has spoken so much about. So yeah, over to you, Victor.
Okay, thank you very much. And like you said, Enki already touched on a lot of things, but I just want to I'm going to be brief about my contribution. And I would start I'm going to borrow a leaf from what NK talked about, and that's, you leveraging on your strengths. And I think when you're transitioning, and this is also the business analyst in me talking, I think it's very important that you do a sort of SWOT analysis of yourself. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? And what opportunities do you see in this transitioning that you're embarking on? And what do you think are the threats that would affect you, or that would that would make you not reach your goal? So, for example, you want to transition from being just a generalist project manager into an IT project manager, for example. So, one of the things that would be your strength would be you already understand the principles of managing a project. You already know about budgeting. You already know about work breakdown structure, WBS. You already know about managing stakeholders. You already know about managing tight deadlines. You already know how to use MS Planner. You already know how to use Jira, things like that. So it means that you have certain strengths that would help you in your transitioning journey. And then weaknesses. Let's just say you really don't know about tech. You're not a techie person, or maybe you're not just interested in it, or things like that. That's your weakness. And apparently, or obviously, that's something that you need to work on. And then what are the opportunities? Maybe tech PM roles pay more. Maybe it's going to sort of broaden your skill set. You need to be able to identify those opportunities. And then what are the threats to it? So threats in this case could be, maybe you have to pay extra money to take certain courses. So it means that if you're unable to raise that money, then it's a threat to you achieving that, your goal of transitioning. So it's very important, and I would really, really encourage us to use this approach moving forward when you're about to take a really important decision, especially when it comes to your career or maybe in other things. Apart from the fact that you need to pray about it and things like that, I think it's important that you apply the SWOT analysis to your decision-making process. Identify your strengths, or identify the strengths of whatever it is you're embarking on, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats that lie. And then second point I want to make here is control. What can you control? What can you not control? And this is sort of the foundation of most burnouts. People always trying to, and I'm not saying it's in all cases, but in a lot of cases, we just kill ourselves on things that we can't really control. So my advice here would be to focus on the things you can control. For example, you can control what you learn, but you can't really control what HR does. You can't really control the organizational structure or the principles, things like that. You don't need to worry yourself about it because there's nothing you can do about it. But things you can work on is your networking skills. Try to be more approachable, be more friendly at work. If you're looking for, if you're working towards a promotion, be more visible. Those are the things that you have control over, and things that you can't control, just let them be. So first thing is SWOT analysis. Second thing is control. And the third thing is be open-minded. A lot of people, they miss out on opportunities just because they're too rigid in their principles. They're too rigid in certain things that they hold dearly to their heart. And I'm not saying it's good to be a person of principle. It's absolutely wonderful. However, you need to be able to learn how to pick your battles. Know where to just chill and let office politics take its toll. And you should know where you should also be assertive and stand your ground. Be mindful of what battles you fight, which ones you don't fight, because at the end of the day, it's somebody's business. It's not your father's company. You have to be able to play the game, and that would be my rounding off point. When you're transitioning, especially if it's an internal transition, which means it's the same company or the same team or whatever, and you're transitioning, internally, you should learn how to play the game. And if it's externally, I'm also sure there is a game to play. So you should be able to identify all of these nuances and factor them into your transition journey. And the next question, Arafat, am I supposed to go on the next question, or I need to yield the mic now? I think you sort of lumped it together.
Let's go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so when it comes to the role of mentors, personally, I'm not so big on mentorship because I don't believe so much in mentorship, and I'll tell you why. I'm not saying it works for a lot of people, but for the kind of person I am, it doesn't work for me, because I always have this mindset that your journey is different from mine, and you can't really tell me what to do because you haven't lived my experience. However, you can learn from people. And if you fail to learn from people, then you would always reinvent the wheel when you're trying to achieve something in your life. And me saying I don't really believe in the old mentorship thing is just the fact where people, is the situation where people sort of treat other people with some sort of godlike reverence, with some, that's what I don't like. And, also these so-called mentors acting as if they know it all. Nobody knows it all. So I really don't want us to fall into that trap of giving people undue power over us or undue power over our future. So again, it's okay to learn from people. You should learn from, as a matter of fact, you must learn from people, because you cannot afford to learn every lesson by experience. That's madness. You're going to kill yourself. But then know what to pick from people and adapt it to your situation, because your circumstances are different. For example, NK might be, she can be, I can learn from her, but our experience through life is definitely different from mine, and it would never be the same. No two people will have the same experience. So I think it's very important that if you have senior colleagues or managers or bosses, if you have them rooting for you, if you have them in your corner, then I think it's very important that you take advantage of it. Ask the right questions. Again, don't never waste your mentor's time. If you're the kind of person who believes in mentorship, you have career coaches and life coaches and things like that, don't waste your time. Ask them smart, meaningful questions, and always show your workings. It's easier to mentor you, for those who believe in it. Again, it's easier to mentor you if I see that you're up and doing. There's a Yoruba saying, and pardon me guys who don't understand Yoruba, but I'm going to say it in English anyways. So the Yoruba saying says that it's the child that raises his arms that's being carried, something like that. So you have to also play your part. You can't just say, this person, I sent this email to this person to be my mentor and they didn't do anything for me, or I asked them this question and they didn't respond to me. Keep being visible. Do your part. That's just the best way I can put it. Do your part, and eventually they will see your hard work. You become visible enough that nobody can deny you. So that would be my response to the question about mentorship. Over to you, Nke.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Victor. Thank you for your response to those questions. I believe I would want to give a recap to this, so I do not have to beat over some of the things that you have mentioned. But I believe our students, our alumni, they are listening and they're taking notes and putting call to action where necessary. So as much as possible, the time is we're 53 minutes into this session already. So we'll try
Yeah.
as much as we can to bring our questions to a speed, even as we attempt to draw the curtain to a close. But please take notes, guys. Very soon we're going to go into Q&A, where we'll open the room for you to ask your question. So that question you would love to ask NK, the question you would love to ask Victor, you can start typing it if you would want to type. Please, let's get ready so we can maximize both their time and our own time here together. So this my question is going to go to NK. From what NK has mentioned and also from what Victor has mentioned, we can see so far there's been growth trajectory from your entry roles into your current roles right now. And for you, NK specifically, this question is for you, NK. I would want to know from you. The truth is, we have several individuals who are very good, skills wise, fantastic. They have probably the right culture and the mindset. However, there is a gap, and it's their inability to show their growth and leadership potential. And we know your employer would want to give someone who they know and they are certain can actually take the lead. So the question for you, NK, is how can you showcase growth and leadership potential to secure promotions? How can we, let me say we now, not you, I mean you are our boss right now, so how can we showcase growth and leadership potential to secure promotion? And if possible, if you could share a story that resonates best with you at a point in time that I think this action or some of this set of actions actually expedited a promotion you enjoyed. Please, over to you, NK.
NK is muted.
NK, we can't hear you.
You're muted.
Oh my. Okay, yeah, I was really speaking. So the first part of that question, you said, how can you showcase a growth mindset?
How can you showcase growth? No, how can you showcase growth? So your employers can know that you are growing already, and leadership, growth and leadership. So how can you showcase growth and leadership? Yeah.
Yeah, it's really important. I've had in multiple organizations that I've worked in, I've had to do this. It's almost like you have to prove yourself even like twice as more, even 3 times as more. I mean, I'm talking from experience as a lady. So to get, so as you said, you asked for a question. You asked for stories, right? I remember when I was speaking to a kingmaker in my former office, and this person wanted to just hear me out, like, what do you want to do? What's your next step, right? And I was stammering. I couldn't put my thoughts together. He's someone who was up front, and he told me to stand up and leave his office. It seemed like he was harsh, but then he explained, you know, what he wanted to hear from me. He says, as someone who is a serious professional, you do good work, you do great work, but nobody will just hand it over to you. You have to come to the table with your value. You have to come to the table with your contributions, and ask for a seat on the table. I had my other colleagues, mostly males, um, at meetings, maybe we were even having a conversation about the next level. All of them, it was in our faces. I want to be the next leader. I am the best person to be the next leader, and I'll just cower in my corner. I won't say anything. And so he really wanted me to speak. He knew that I could do things, but I wasn't asking for that seat. I wasn't asking for that thing. So I got that feedback. I worked on it because he was even telling me, someone to see you serious, you need to take yourself serious, right? So I started to articulate my contributions, articulate, what I have done, what I've brought to the table. And in doing that, leadership could see that I was ready for the next level. Um, I remember him just giving me like a pep talk that day, because he still called me back. It wasn't all bad that day. He told me to come back in and he talked to me. He told me that his boss knew his next level. He says his boss knew his aspirations. His boss knew what he was working towards. So the person ahead of you should know what you are working towards. Some people get angry. Sometimes you see some people resign and they say, "Oh, this, despite all the things I've done, nobody took me serious." Nobody will take you serious if you don't take yourself serious. So the people around you should know what you're working towards, so that when that opportunity comes, they remember that Enke said she wanted this seat, or Enke said she wanted this. I've had a colleague of mine too who had outgrown where she was. She was on the same level year on year. And then some other person who had just come into the fold, got the next level that she was hoping that she would get. I remember her talking to me and almost crying and saying, "Oh, can you imagine? Oh, this is how they played me and all that." I saw this lady move to the next level when she asked for a seat for the next level, right? She was just quiet, thinking that they will hand it down to her, until she spoke out and said, "I want this, this, this. I have done this, this, this." It wasn't handed over. So I'll say, for you to move to the next level, to show that you're ready for the next leadership role, it's important that you articulate your achievements. You articulate what you're doing and what you're hoping to get out of the situation, what you're hoping to get out of the arrangement when you're speaking to leaders. Another thing I would advise you to do is to invest in yourself. I've had cases where you have a colleague who's complaining, or you have a friend who's complaining, "Oh, these guys, they don't train me. Can you imagine? They don't train me. How do I do my best?" No, sometimes you just need to invest in yourself for yourself, because you are the one that will take it on to the next level, right? By the time you start investing, so in my career, I have invested in the next level. So at the point where I'm an analyst, I'm investing in, okay, what are the senior analysts doing? How do I, how would I be given a seat on that table? Okay, they are writing these certifications. Okay, they are working on their communication skills. Okay, they are working on presence and all of that. I start to do that. When I got even higher, management role, wanted to move to senior manager, I wanted to move to director. What are the courses that partners are taking? What are the rooms that they are entering into? How can I enter that room and be taken seriously? Okay, I need to work on communication. I need to work on maybe some courses, have not just technical capabilities, but the ability to convert, technicalities to business type of language. So I would say the second thing would be to, just really look at the next level, and try to do things that are required of that next level. So in PwC, where I used to work, when we appraise people, then I remember it was so strange to me then, because I was coming from a local firm and it wasn't done like that. You appraise people based on, you're not appraising them based on just their capabilities. You are appraising them looking at the others within their level. it was a rude shock for me. So you have people who know that you are going to be assessed based on the performance of people on the same level. So that means if you are an analyst, we're looking at all analysts and we're saying, okay, so who showed leadership values, or who showed technical capabilities, or okay, so how would you rate this one compared to his peers? So if you're not using like a higher pedestal to assess yourself, or to sort of work on yourself, you will fall short. So most people were promoted based on, oh, this guy is already doing the work of a manager, so why do we leave him as a manager? Oh, this person, although she's here, oh, she spent just 6 months as a senior manager, but she can become a partner. I mean, you see the conversations are not about how long this person has stayed, or perhaps maybe only the skills the person has. Is how is this person demonstrating the traits of the next level? Why? What is the reason why we should move this person to the next level? I would say those would be my key contributions to this question. I hope I answered this question.
Thank you very much, NK. Thank you so much, NK. I'm very much aware that you are pressed for time, and truth is, we would actually want you to still answer at least a question even before you
Well,
leave.
I'll
And
stay. I'll stay. It's fine. It's okay. I'll stay.
thank,
It's fine.
thank you. I like to say that you're also having a great time with us. Victor, how are you doing too?
Mm.
Right.
All
So
right. So
lights,
Victor,
the bulb's gone off. Weirdly, it just went off, but I'm okay. Yeah.
Remember, sorry about that. Okay, now Victor, I have a question for you. While I want you to also briefly let us know, because again, we understand that you have similar stories, however, unique experiences. But then this is not the major question, so I gave that to NK. But for you, Victor, I would want to ask you this direct question now. Have you ever experienced burnout?
Oh yes. In
Okay,
2020.
2023, fantastic. So now I want you to tell us, it could also be based on your experience and general knowledge, what are some early signs of burnout? Because trust me, for several of us at different points in time, we always want to get things done. And there's this mentality that it's incorporated, that just do it, ensure you're always doing it. And before you know it, one way or the other, things are going, days, weeks past, and burnout comes in. So, what are some early signs of burnout? NK has given us one way she would always handle burnout. And if you also have other ways that you've been able to handle yours, please also share with us. That is the main question I would want you to answer now. And then just briefly highlight how you've been able to show recruiters, show your employers that you are deserving of a leadership position. So, over to you, Victor.
Okay, I think it's very possible I forget the second question, but because my mind is really focused on the first one. So in case I do forget, kindly remind me. So talking about burnout, I think one of the early signs, and this is from personal experience, would be anxiety. And I also would like to mention that, there are different factors, different causes that could cause or lead to burnout. But whatever response I give moving forward, it's going to be based on my experience. So in 2023, I got this opportunity to go work as a consultant in the biggest company in the Netherlands. It's called ASML. They produce machines that produce computer chips. So it was a huge opportunity, but I needed to relocate. It was a 12-month contract, but I needed to relocate from the UK to Netherlands for 1 year. And 2 months before then, my partner and I, we just had our baby. So I had to leave them and go to the Netherlands. And within 12 months, I traveled 19 times, coming from Amsterdam to London, 19 times. And nobody at work, they don't send me something like that. You need to deliver the work. And that was just the story from the major cause of burnout from a personal side. Then from the professional side, I don't know how many of you know ASML, but it's a very huge company. And they have over 20,000 staff. They're in the Netherlands, they're in the US, different parts of the US, they're in Taiwan, they're in China, and they're in Singapore. So And they're also in the UK. So it's a massive job. And guys, for the first 3 months, I didn't know what I was doing because it was very difficult to understand the structure of the organization. For example, there is this rivalry between the US and China. So if I needed to speak with a colleague in China, depending on what I want to talk to them about, I have to clear with corporate so that I wouldn't be saying things that are illegal, because there's this rivalry between China and America. They're always fighting on IP, intellectual property. They're always fighting on technology, so to make sure that you're not divulging patented information, you have to sort of check with other people. And I didn't know who I was going to talk to. And to make matters worse, my second week of resumption, my manager went on a 3-week vacation. So it was very difficult. It was a very bad experience, those first 3 months. So I became anxious. My enthusiasm was, it just getting low every day. And I was beginning to forget things, and I was gradually losing interest. And don't forget, I had to travel back to London almost every 2 weeks or thereabout, to go check on my family. So it's, first of all, it's very easy for you to, to fall into that steep slope of you just losing interest in your work. Even though you start with so much enthusiasm, you're just losing interest in it. And again, it depends on the type of company, that environment. It's very important. I have experience working in the private sector, in the public sector, and in the non-governmental organization. I used to work with the UN when I was still in Nigeria. So I would say that it's very different, in this different, depending on the setting. And I think it's very important that we sort of make the distinction between how, I think in public sector, you'll probably never experience burnout because a lot of people are just there, just do your time. It's like jail. Just do your time. If you do 5 years, you get a promotion. If you do 2 years, you get a promotion. There's really no strict KPIs. No, I'm serious, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I currently work in the public sector. I work for a local council here in the UK, and I'm not surprised, even though I'm still very surprised at the way they do certain things, and I feel like I don't think I'm going to stay for long here. But that's just me saying that depending on the environment, these things are different, and they could be, fluid and dynamic. But something that can cut across all three of them is you would see the early signs of burnout. For example, everything seems to be outside of your control. Now, that's a recipe for disaster, because you have to be able to control certain things and, be able to make certain judgments, be able to decide certain things. Everything cannot just work against you. So if everything is working against you, then something is wrong, and you're gonna be burned out eventually. And that's number one. Number two, if you don't have the help you need. In my own case, after the second week, my manager went on an annoying vacation for 3 weeks. And, he said he couldn't cancel, but you knew you were going to employ me. You knew, as a matter of fact, he was waiting for me to resume so he could onboard me hurriedly and then go on his vacation. So he left me for 3 weeks. So if you don't have the right support, you're going to struggle. And if it's a big company, like it was in my case, your struggle is going to be times 10. So it's very important that you're able to sort of mitigate this in case you see that, in case you see things unfolding in that kind of way, then you can nip it in the bud. You probably tell your manager that, can I resume when you're back from your vacation? In my own case, and unfortunately, I didn't know he was going on vacation while the recruitment was going on. It was after I resumed that he told me. So that could also be an early sign if you don't have the right support, that you need at per time. And another thing is, depending on the type of colleagues you have, unfortunately, the environment I worked in, it was kind of hostile, and I'm happy I didn't. It wasn't a permanent role. I was happy it was a contract role, so I was just counting down. There are certain work environments where they're too competitive, and in my own case, a lot of people on my team, everybody wanted the manager to see what they're doing, you know. And if you find yourself in that kind of team, it's going to be very easy for you to get burned out, because none of them is going to help you, and they're not going to tell you stuff. And even some of them, they might invite you for a drink where they gossip about everything, where you could learn things. And guys, I'm one of those people who really believe in office politics. If you don't believe in office politics, then you're on a long thing, because it's real and you just have to play the game. So now my number 3 point is, if you don't have supportive colleagues, then your burnout is probably loading. It's going to happen soon. And last but not the least is, what kind of support system do you have for yourself? And I really like the fact that NK talked about, you spending time, I don't know how you said it, but it was you taking time off and just chilling. Yeah. So if you find it difficult to take time off, there are certain jobs that people find it very hard to get time off. Even their annual leave, their guaranteed annual leave, they have to start begging their managers to let them go. If you're in that kind of environment, you will get burned out. It's just a matter of time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So if you're unable to take care of yourself mentally, if you're unable to, for example, people who take work home, I don't know how they do it, but I never take work home. Maybe because I haven't been in roles where it would require me to take work home. But I think it's a very bad idea to take work home. So these are the different ways that I think it's easy for you to identify a loading burnout early on, in the course of your career. And the second part that you wanted me to touch on, I think it's about promotion, isn't it?
That's correct, Victor.
Okay, great. So 2 words I have for you guys is positioning and visibility. If you want a promotion, going by the words of Tinubu when he was campaigning, by the way, guys, I'm very big on Nigerian politics, even though it always depresses me, but I still have coconut head. I always watch Arise TV. And I follow Nigerian politics. And during election, Tinubu said power is not served a la carte. And he's actually right. Promotion is not going to fall on your laps. You have to work for it. You have to go for it. And guys, I'm not a Tinubu fan. I hate him to pieces. God forgive me. But that's a very valid point that I think we can all borrow. If you want something, position yourself for it and make your work visible. There's this thing about people not wanting to take the glory or take the credit for the work they did. Why wouldn't you want to take credit for your work? Every time you say, we did this, we. Sometimes be confident enough to say, I did this, because that's you showing the visibility of your work. Don't shy away from it. Make your work visible and position yourself. So when I say position yourself, guys, again, it's about office politics. If colleagues are going for TGIF, follow them. If your colleagues are going to the pub, follow them. If it's your manager's birthday, wish him happy birthday or wish her happy birthday. Play the game, guys. And positioning again, and that's from the office politics side. Again, positioning comes from you taking initiative. If you want to be a leader, start doing what leaders do. If you want to be a manager, start doing what managers do. If you want to be a team lead, start doing what team leads do. Put yourself in the position where you see yourself, and eventually every other factor will work together, for you to get to that position. And last but not least, if you want something, ask for it. Again, I'm a Yoruba guy, so again, there is a very popular saying in Yoruba that I've never translated this before, but Yorubas would say, we don't say there and die there. Yoruba people would understand. you can say, if you want something, just ask for it. What's the worst that could happen? They tell you no. Or they say, or maybe they tell you no and give you a really positive feedback that, oh, you want this manager position, but Victor, you haven't been acting like a manager. Look at your other colleagues, they've done this, and that. So that can be a really good feedback for you that, oh, so now like this that they do. Okay, this is what I'll start doing as well. So if you want something, ask for it. And even though the response might not be positive all the time, you can also take that negative sort of feedback. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much for that, Victor. I mean, I was listening, I was laughing, I was, doing thumbs up at some point, and I'm glad, you're able to share those experiences, because I mean, it's something alumni can relate to at some point in time. So thank you so much for that, Victor. And thank you, NK, for staying here till now. Right. And to just close off this amazing session from our end, we'll just take your pattern advice. I'll start with NK. We've learned so much from you. We've heard about your experiences, your transitioning from one role to another. So just take your pattern advice to anyone that is set to apply to their very first job in tech. Yeah. So it can be like a forecasting. yeah. It can be some sort of foreshadowing. Yeah. So
The
your
question
pattern
is,
advice.
my advice for someone to get their first job in tech.
Yeah, someone that is set to apply for their very first job in tech.
I would say shoot for the stars, right? So what do I mean by that? Sometimes we don't even feel like we are capable of doing certain things, but you are more than capable, and so it's always good to have the right people around you. So a community like this, a place like this, is really good, where you hear people, you have people with similar backgrounds or in the same phase and all that. So it's good to shoot for the stars. I recall when I was applying for a role, and I applied for a manager role. And my friend said, "No, Enki, why would you do that? You are senior manager quality." And I'm like, me. I maybe looking at the job, I'm like, no way, I can't. And he said, "Come on, just go there and just ask for it. Just go there and just talk about your experience and tell them you're here for the senior manager." I mean, I went into that interview afraid, right? And when they asked me what did I want, I said I wanted the senior manager role. Like I was almost like literally pinching myself under the table. And then the interviewer just looked at me and said, "Oh, see your mouth. Okay, we'll give you the senior manager role." I kid you not, when I got into my car, I was screaming. I'm like, the difference between getting the manager role and this, guys, the difference in Big Four is a lot. So
Yeah.
I didn't think, I was like, what? So if the difference was just acting, right, and going and being confident with what I have, I had done. Now, not like I say what I had done was so great, guys. As in, I like what Victor said, and sometimes I don't like to, be labeled that topic. But it's always good to go into these things prayerfully, right? I've always done things talking to God and praying to God. And I say, "God, grant me favor." Sometimes some people work and work and work, and they are not favored. It's not because they don't know what they are doing, right? You need someone to pound the table on your behalf. And sometimes you don't have you don't have the sponsors, you might not have the mentor, you might not have anybody looking out for you, but you bring this thing to God, right? And go and just put your best foot forward. And that's why that day I was shocked. I'm like, okay, because I know to get this role, they need someone with how many years experience, they need this, they need that. I just went prayerfully and I asked and I got it. So I've said two things, right? Shoot for the stars, make sure that you have someone pounding the table on your behalf. In my own case, I chose God, right? Because I didn't have anybody at that time. And always put yourself, surround yourself with people, network. I always say network. Network, guys, network, talk to people. I remember before coming, from the local advisory firm where I was coming from, Digital Jewels Africa, I wanted to transit into a Big Four. So now more multinational and all that. And I was just talking to people I'm like, see, I want to work in a Big Four. I've done the locals. I want to work in a Big Four. I mean, I remember talking to one lady and she was like, "Good luck with that." Like, she was like, was the white lady like, luck with that. Like, where would you get that from? How would you get that? Look at your experience. Where are you coming from? Digital. What experience do you have? It was almost like, but I didn't allow that to like deter me. I will talk to people. I want to do this. This is where I want to be. And when the opportunity came, NK, there's an opportunity here. Send your CV. I actually got opportunities in, like, in fact, I will say at that time, it was two of the big fours. Because I talked so much, not as if I'm talking to everybody, like, I mean, like, but people who are within my space, telling them about the next level, what I wanted to enter into. So I would say actively network. Be prepared to explain your projects. So you've done stuff. Sometimes it's just internship. Sometimes it's just a contract job. But be prepared to explain what you did, your personal projects, your contributions. I like what Victor said. I did this, not we. I did this. Be ready to discuss them in detail. Highlight your technical decisions, your problem-solving process, the way you communicated, the way you collaborated. Oh my God, I've sat down in they're trying to hire people, right? And you say, "NK, please come on board and just listen to some people." You see some people come in because they have all the skills and all, they're so proud. You know that you can't work with that person because as a leader, you know you've worked with people that just feel like they are all that and you can't get anything out of them. But you see those ones that are humble, those ones that are teachable, those ones that know their stuff, even though it's just one thing, but we know that they have that growth mindset. Those are always the ideal candidates. Sometimes you might even have someone that is advanced in age, but this person has come to you showing their skill, what they bring to the table, looking at their strengths and saying, okay, my experience is a strength, but however, I'm here to learn. I'm here to complement the team. I mean, people want to hear you explain your project, explain how you will complement, the team. And that means you need to research the company that you are going to. I mean, it's no point trying to prepare for an interview and you don't know about the company. What are their values? So if you're speaking the language of collaboration, is it a key value, right? You need to know how to put in those things. I don't know. So those will be my those will be my contributions. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, NK. I mean, that was really wonderful. So I'll just go to Victor before we take the question in the chat box. So your pattern advice to anyone that is set to get their very or apply for their very tech job. Yeah.
Great. Oh, I think NK has really touched on so many things. As a matter of fact, I think she even went on as far as interviewing tips. So she's really covered lots of ground. So, but what particular thing that I would like to call our attention to is just this phrase of mine that I live by professionally. And that phrase is, don't compete, stand out. And that's what I would like to leave with you guys today, especially people that are getting to the entry role. The thing is, you're not the only person. There are about 1,000 other people that applied for that. Just because it's entry level, the entry barrier is kind of low. So a lot of people think that they're qualified and they all apply for it. So it's a small pond with lots of fish. So it's very important that you go with the mindset of standing out. So what's going to make you stand out? And that's the things you need to start thinking about. I'll give you an example of myself. Maybe not entry level, but I wanted a particular, so I was trying to sort of carve a niche for myself. And that was part of the brainstorming I did when I wanted to start my company. And that was, how can I differentiate myself from every other business analyst? How can I differentiate myself from every other cybersecurity analyst? And you know what I did? So after learning cybersecurity, learning business analysis, then I started learning how to, because I already had coding skills, so I started learning how to write scripts in Python to solve cybersecurity problems. Now, there was a recruiter who reached out to me on LinkedIn, and I get this almost every day, including the scammers as well. Almost every day, recruiters reach out to me on LinkedIn, offering me all kind of stuff. But there was this particular one who asked me, who called me and said, well, we needed someone who was who is a business analyst, but they can write Python scripts. And I said, yeah, that I can do that. So that's, even though I didn't take the job because it would require me to be in the office 4 times a week. That wouldn't work for me. They didn't want 2 days a week. That didn't work for me. And for them, 4 days a week was a priority. And I couldn't do that at the time because I have a young kid. Anyways, it's very, very important that you don't get lost in that pool. Do stuff that would make you stand out. If you research during your application process, if you research something, you research about the company, you research the role, and you see that you have all the essentials, but you don't have any of the desirables, strive to have at least 1 or 2 desirables. At least that would stand you out of sorts, from every other person who's got only the essential criteria. Is there a particular certification that you believe would differentiate you from every other candidate? Take the plunge, do it, get the certificate, try to find the money, sit for it, read it. If it's a particular skill, that this skill, it can make the difference for you. It can set you apart from every other candidate. Do it. It's, I don't know, I really don't know how else to explain it, but try as much as possible not to compete with other people, because it's very hard to compete. Then they would have to be comparing, did that guy smile during the interview? How many big grammar did he speak? And it's very funny how interviewers, the conversations they have after the interviewee have left the room. It's very funny the kind of conversations they have, because I've had the opportunity while I was with the UN to be on about 3 to 4 interview panels. So, it's very funny how HR and interviewers, how they make fun of different candidates after the interviews. And for them, it's just, especially for them to give you the job, it's just about certain connection. And just like NK said, in some cases, you might just feel like this person is experienced and they're humble, they are teachable. For me, that's a combination that works. Or you could be like, this person went to my school. Oh, that's interesting. I can trust anybody that goes to my school, that went to my school, rather. So it's all kind of different things. And again, NK has talked about researching. While you're researching, find certain things that you can use to stand out, during the application process and during the interview process. At this point, I hope I've convinced you and not confused you.
Yes.
It's better to stand out than
Thank you so much for that. I mean, it's been a long ride, but it's been a very engaging and insightful session. And I must say, I've learned a lot. And I hope our alumni and participants and students have also learned a lot. So before we go on, Shay, right?
Yeah, I wanted to lend my voice to what you are saying, Arafat, and this has been one of the best community engagement
Please go
I have
ahead.
participated in. And I mean, NK and Victor, you are a terrific combination. Thank you, thank you, thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much for that, Shay. So we'll go on to one of the questions. That's from Friday OB. And any of you can, you can give your insights on that. To say, how do you deal with impact of age when transiting fully into tech after 50 years of age with respect to getting hired? I will straight open. I don't know who wants to go
NK,
first.
you first.
Okay. When we talk about focusing on your strengths, I mean, that's a strength. I mean, I would say focus on your strengths and experience from where you're coming from. So you may want to showcase domain expertise. So if your previous career was in a specific industry, highlight how that domain knowledge combined with your new tech skills can be a unique advantage. I know of someone within the cybersecurity space who studied library science. She's doing well, doing core cybersecurity work. But what did she, how did she bring her strength to the table? I mean, the fact that she's very good with writing, bookkeeping, communication. She talks really well. I mean, those were the things that she brought on board. And you agree with me that in tech, you need to communicate. You'll be talking to, business owners, business leaders, tactical level team members, strategic level team members, operational guys, and you need to understand, how to communicate with those different classes. And those were the things that she brought on board. So you need to, highlight those skills, those valuable skills that have come with age, that have come with, the experience you have garnered over time. I think that will be a good place to start. I think you can also demonstrate your how will I put it? Like optimize your application materials, right? There's a way you can modernize your resume. Like because of your experience, you will be able to, have something really cool. When I said articulate your accomplishments, 10 years experience in this, quantifiable results, 5 years experience in this. Just think about that role very well. What are the things that they're looking out for? Remove the age indicators. Remove the age indicators and focus on your skills. Use contemporary language. Tailor your resume to the organization. Most times, tap into your existing network. Right, you have people within the network that know you, that know the experience that you bring to the table, your skills, your strengths, and if you're speaking to them about a role that you want, it's easier, right? And then when I talk about networking, there are places where you go and you can get talking to people, and you talk about your unique contributions and what you bring to the table with all the experience that you have. By networking, you definitely get a good fit for for you. Yeah, I think those would be.
Thank you so much, NK.
Mm.
Over to you, Victor.
Yeah, I think NK gave a very, very, very beautiful response to that. And I'm going to play the devil's advocate, and I'm going to look at it from a different point of view. And that's just me being real. So you're over 50. Why would anybody employ you? Why would I employ a 22-year-old or a 25-year-old who's still, when you're 40, you're already set in your ways. It's very difficult for people that are, of certain age bracket. And this is not me being ageist. It has nothing to do with, I don't have any issue with people's age. But then we're talking about the business world. They would always find reasons to not employ you, no matter who you are. It's your responsibility as an applicant to prove them wrong or to show them why you should be employed. It's your responsibility. The employer or the potential employer, they don't owe you anything. So why should anybody employ a 50-year-old or over 50 candidate? And a lot of the useful answers are the ones that NK has mentioned. But I want to throw it back to that person. What would make you as a person, if it was your company, what would make you employ an over 50-year-old candidate? So it would mean that kind of company, it means they would benefit from your experience. So it means that you must have useful experience that they can benefit from. And then another important thing is, do you have transferable skills? So, you have to be useful for your employer. It's not a charity, So you as a person, that age, the fact that you're a certain age, that there will be certain bias towards you. And that's another thing. I was talking at a particular podcast about interviewing tips. And I was talking about bias. Either you like it or not, people hold certain biases towards you. The fact that your skin color is a certain way, people hold biases about. The fact that you're from Africa, people already have in their subconscious a mental picture of who they think you are. See, there's nothing we can do about it. It exists. What we can do, like I've always been saying throughout the whole of this session, is to play the game. So you know that you're of certain age, which means that the best thing you can leverage on is your wealth of experience. So you need to be able to package that. I'm not saying that you're not employable, of course. You're not. Even people that are over retirement age, they still get employed somewhere. So you're employable as long as you're in good health and you're mentally capable. Of course, you're employable. But I'm just talking about mitigating that sort of age bias that certain people might show towards you. So it's your responsibility to show them that your age is not a disadvantage. It's, as a matter of fact, a strength for the company, and you have to be able to show them how it's a strength.
All right. Thank you
Great.
so much for that, Victor. I mean, I can see Friday throwing his favorite emoji. So I am sure that, you and NK have done justice to the question. And at this junction, we'd like
Yeah.
to say thank you. I know Shay, you want to comment, but yeah, before Shay throws me out, I'd like to say thank you to Victor and NK for their time, their insights, their knowledge. It's been such an engaging session. I mean, can testify to it that it's been such an engaging session. So let's give NK and Victor a favorite emoji, telling them how much we appreciate their time,
Thank you, guys.
their support, and to our community engagement. While we bid them farewell and say bye. Thank you so much, students and alumni. Please stay on the
Thank
call.
you
We still
so
have some
much.
good
Thank you
news
so
for
much.
you.
Thank you. Bye,
Shay,
Victor. It was
All right.
nice.
yeah.
I'll catch you on
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. So, our distinguished students and alumni, please do well to check out Victor and check out Enki on LinkedIn. You have a flyer which we shared across. You can see it. So, please do well to follow them, connect with them. I know while they're speaking, there are certain things they said that resonated with you. So, please do well to connect and network. It's very important. All right. Thank you so much, Victor. And thank you, NK. Fantastic people once again. Thank you.
Hi, guys. Have
Cheers.
a lovely weekend.
And you
Bye,
too
everyone.
have fantastic weekend. NK, are you seeing a movie tonight? I mean, today's
With
TGIF.
myself, yes. I'm going downstairs. We'll watch something nice. Yeah, I will.
That's beautiful.
Nice.
Enjoy your
Yeah.
evening. Bye bye.
Yeah. Thank
Victor,
you. Bye, guys.
take care.
Bye.
All right,
Yeah,
guys. Catch you later.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Cheers.
yeah. All right, so Arafat, we're going to take it on here. For all of our students and alumni, we have very important information for you. But first of all, we want to believe that you had a great time. It was a swell time, even for us as moderators here. We'd like to believe it's same for you at your end. So in the next few minutes, in less than 10 minutes, Arafat will be taking us through important information that we need to stay abreast with, and so we can go. Meanwhile, if you check through the screen, you would realize, sorry, if you check the comment section, you're going to see the link to their profiles on LinkedIn. So please do well to connect with NK as well as to connect with Victor. Very brilliant minds. Over to you, Arafat.
Thank you so much for that, Shay. So we quickly take this because it's quite important for you as an alumni to also take advantage of opportunities and this that we are doing. So you have a interview prep and you want to prepare for your interview prep. How do you go about it? We have people messaging us from the community. I don't know how to book an interview prep. Who do I message and all of that? So I'll just take you through in bits how to go around it. Shay, please can you confirm if you can see my screen perfectly?
Yes, I can see your screen perfectly, Arafat. You may want to just zoom it
Okay.
in. Yes.
Oh, all right, great. All right. All right, so the first thing that you need to do is to go to your Google Classroom. You just go.
Sorry, Arafat, at the moment, I can't see your screen moving. It's not moving. It's on the slide.
So let me share. Yeah, yeah. Let me share the entire screen so you get to see. Think I was sharing. Right. So yeah. Oh, great. All right. So let me go
Yes,
back.
correct.
So you go to your Google Classroom, right? So when you go to your Google Classroom, all you need to do is you go to classwork. When you go to classwork, you go to important materials. Important materials. So when you click on immediately you click on important materials, you will see that you have several options. this is off. Mm, see if it starts. A while ago. This is taking slow. Regardless. So when you go to important materials and you check underneath, you will see book and interview prep. Right. Interview prep. So book and interview prep under classwork important material. So immediately you click on it, automatically it takes you to the Calendly where you are going to check dates that are available. Still loading over here. Right. I think it's up now. So you see that Friday, Saturday off, Sunday is off, but on Monday is open, and you can just click on 8 p.m. Right, click your name, right, and then you book. If right, if you move forward, you see where you're supposed to state what sort of interview you need materials and all of that. But yeah, because it's already signed it, you can also see I can go to Wednesday and I can book immediately. It just books an interview prep for you. You get notified, you get an email that says, oh, you book an interview prep. Simple as that. So just walk it through. You go to your classroom, classwork, you go to important materials, and then you scroll down to interview prep. And when you click on it, it automatically takes you to the interview prep session. Yeah. I hope that was clear. If you have any questions, you can definitely can definitely, yeah, like you can definitely send us, reach out to the admins in the community. We are always here for you, right? I think we've been able to cover that, Shay. If you have any other questions on that, the second big okay, we have a hand raised. Oh, Charity, please go ahead. Sorry, I didn't see that. Can you unmute? Oh, I need to. Please go ahead, Charity. I don't think she
I
can
think we can't hear
unmute.
from Charity. Perhaps it's a mistake, or she would call our attention back. Let's move on.
Oh, okay, perfect. You can also drop it in the chat box, Charity. Right, so the next thing is our referral bonus. And we've always said it that the alumni community, our student community, is one of our most important community because they're always there to spread the good words about us and tell their loved ones about our programs, about the great things we are doing, regardless of the fact whether you are still in the program or you are done with the program, you still have a community like this to fall back to support you. You have people to always come and speak to you about their experiences. So all you need to do is to refer someone, and then you get $40 when you refer someone to join the program. And how do you go about this? You can go about this with the referral link. I'm going to send it to the chat box now. Yes, I'm going to send it to the chat box now while we wait for Charity to drop our. I think she has dropped it. Or oh, you can't unmute. Can you try unmuting now, Charity? I think I've added you to the call also you can speak. You can try unmuting now, Charity, and let me know if it works. So I've dropped the link to refer someone on the chat box. So as an alumni, you get $40 on each referral you make for someone to join our program. And this is valid till from January to the end of the year. You need access to recording class for DA. Oh, great, Charity. Are you a student or you're an alumni? Start from there so that we'll know who to point you to. But that's not a problem. I need access to record class for the. All right, David. How do I get it? So if you check through the terms and conditions, if you click on the terms and conditions, you will see a clause where it states June cohort. Oh, that's last year June cohort charity, right? So if you check through the chat box, to state that how this works. Now, first thing is that you invite a friend to join our program, and then you click on the link, right? You've done that. You encourage people to refer. You confirm the person payment. You receive the 40 payment, regardless of the $40 payment, regardless of the currency, But then the person has to has completed the payment before you can get, the referral bonus. So that's for David, right? So you need to confirm if the person has completed the payment. If the person has completed the payment, it means that you are eligible for your $40. So you can just message the finance team and then you get your referral bonus, right? So June core 2024 charity. Oh, great. If you still have access to your class coordinator, you can message your class coordinator to, I believe you still have access to your LMS and all. But yeah, you can message your class coordinator to about that, or you can message the admin in the alumni community and we'll pick it up from there. Right, charity. I think that works. So I think we've answered all the questions. Charity, I hope that answered your question. Okay. Oh, great. So you can message your class coordinator or you message the admin. Oh, great. Or message the admin so we can follow up on that to get access to your record class. Okay. All right. I think that's all from my end. We've spoken about the interview prep session. We've spoken about how you can earn by referring someone, and the link is in the community. So don't forget to. The link will be dropped in the community also. So after the session, so don't forget to refer someone. I hope we had an amazing time. Before we go, let me see yes in the chat box if you had an amazing time tonight. Yes. Yes, your favorite emoji. My own is double yes and triple yes. So I'm going to say yes several times. For those that are still with us. Yes. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Muhammad. Thank you, Charity. I also had an amazing time. Nice catching up with you. And we'll definitely see you in the next alumni community engagement. Thank you so much, Sunday. I'm glad you had a great time. Thank you, everyone. And we'll say good night at this point. Shay, do you have any last words for a while before we say good night? Thank you so much, Lucky.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
thank you, everybody. Alpha has said it and it can't be overflogged, but importantly, please do well to take into practice everything you've learned, both from Victor and as well as from NK. We are committed to ensuring that you get the job, that you do well on the job, and importantly, that you excel in your various fields because at Analytics, we want to be a part of your success story. So we're going to draw the curtain to a close here right now, wherever you are. Good evening, good afternoon, good night. Till we come your way again next month, please stay tuned and connect with everything that we'll be doing. Wish you the very best and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now. Cheers.
Bye. Cheers, Shay. Bye, everyone.